Hit Maxi. Hit Maxi. Let's go, Maxi. Don't hesitate. Take that every single time. Man, look. My boy was ready. He got to stop. I don't care about a little bit of pressure, especially a smaller man. Shoot over him every time. He got to stop hesitating on these shots. Pull that every time. Middle of the game, beginning of the game. Yeah, this the game right here. This is a game changer.
Showing some passion and emotion as Dallas knows this was a fantastic play and potentially a game-winning shot for the Mavericks.
All right, so in case that wasn't clear, that was the live reaction to the Maxi shot. Didn't shoot for a long time. I was complaining about him not shooting. But then he started pulling in the fourth quarter, and it paid off because he ended up hitting the big shot to basically help us force overtime. It was a weird game. We did get Maxi and Willie Cauley-Stein to start again. Boban saw minutes in the first quarter. Green saw minutes in the first quarter. James Johnson came out with a haircut. Just a interesting start to the game. Slow start. Fortunately, the Nuggets weren't hitting shots either, really. A lot of turnovers from Luka. It looked like he kind of tweaked his Achilles. He got going a little bit in the second, but again, we had a really weird first half. Just was ugly. Nobody was showing up really. It felt like besides Luka, and he again looked like he wasn't 100%. So in the second quarter, the trainer tried to even look at Luka, and Luka actually pulled away from him. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days as far as that is concerned. But as far as the game is concerned, the second half, we got a quick fourth on Jokic, but refused to go at him. Luka still was showing signs of that leg bothering him. We were unable to get any stops, but then we went on a big run near the end of the third, sparked by THJ. On offense and defense, he got a big block on one play. Tight game going into the fourth. Jokic started drawing fouls on everybody. It started looking like we were about to lose control of the game, but then Luka and Maxi stepped up, shot for shot down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Maxi hit that big three to put us up 2. Jokic hit a big 2 to tie it up, and then we go to overtime where the Mavs took over. Josh Richardson scored 5 points in the last 2 minutes of overtime. Big three-pointer, big layup, and had a rough night defensively. Got a lot of dumb, weak foul calls where he thought he was drawing charges or like he was the offended party. But I'm hoping that what happened for him in the OT is a sign of good things to come, because I was hoping tonight would be the night that he got going. He still shows a lot of tentative decision-making with the ball in his hand. There were several times where he got inside. I thought he could go up for a layup, and he jumped and looked for somebody to pass it to. Like, he needs to, I think him slashing, cutting to the basket needs to be a big part of him stepping up. It doesn't have to just be shooting spot-up threes. He can go to the basket and put the ball in the hole. That's big for us. So we'll see, if that starts to happen over the next few games, but KP's coming back soon, and that's going to completely change the dynamic anyway. I think I'm talking too much. We're at the 3-minute mark, so I'm going to stop this talk and we'll get into the box score. Great game for the Mavs. Won it in overtime, and it looked ugly the first half. We figured it out. We struggled it out and got the W. So I'll take what I can get. Hopefully Luka is healthy, and KP's coming through that door any day now. So quick break, and then we'll get into the box. All right, this is where I plug my fake ad, since I don't have a sponsor right now. Hey, go to wherever you're at, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're on, type in Bibbs Corner Film, and hit subscribe. And that's all I got to say about that. And if you want to go into YouTube and type in Bibbs Corner and hit subscribe over there, you'd be doing me a big favor. And with that, let's get straight to these stats. Hello and welcome yet again to the Bibbs Corner podcast. I am your host, as always, Mike Bibbins, on Twitter at Bibbs Corner. And we're going to get straight into this box score today. Like I said, it was a very interesting game. Luka kind of had to keep us in it most of the first half. His numbers reflect that heavily. He finished the game with 38 points, 9 boards, 13 assists, 4 steals, and a block. And those 4 steals were legitimate. He was jumping passing lanes and just making plays on defense in general. He had some defensive lapses too, and I'd have to wonder if a couple of them weren't related to that Achilles tweak. But again, overall, a great game from Luka. 13 for 22 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, 10 for 15 from the line, which we'd like to see be a little bit higher, but, we'll take the win today. And then 8 turnovers. Again, most of that was in the first half. He was having a really hard time out there. The Nuggets defense was locked in, and our offense was not. Luka did play 43 minutes in this overtime affair as well. Josh Richardson, 41 minutes. He finished the game with 14 points, 1 board, 1 assist, and 2 steals. 5 for 15 from the field. Another tough shooting night for him. 2 for 7 from 3. His defense was solid throughout, which is why he still played 41 minutes, and he played with a lot of energy. He did hit both his free throws, but the main thing I'm noticing with Jay Rich is a reluctance to be aggressive. And I put that in part on being a new guy on this team, trying to find his way, not sure where he fits. He needs to be given a green light. He's taking the jump shots when he's supposed to, because he seems to understand that when you're open for 3, you're supposed to pull it. But there's been a few times where he'll put the ball on the floor, he'll get inside, and then he won't pull that mid-range pull-up. He won't go all the way to the basket. And like a few of those attempts, or a few of those times, he really could have gotten all the way to the hole, gotten a clean, easy look, or gotten fouled. And he's just not doing it because I don't know if he thinks he's not supposed to. There was a couple times where he had a lane to drive left and just didn't. And it looked like he might not have even realized that he had a lane to go left because he was so quick to look to figure out who he should be passing the ball to. Again, I'm really not ready to judge yet. It's way too early. No off season, no real preseason. So I'm willing to give him a couple months to figure it out. Next on the docket, or on the, the sheet here, Dorian Finney-Smith played 36 minutes. He finished the game with 14 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. He was 5 for 12 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. He got off to a terrible start shooting, but then he started hustling on defense and on the glass. I think he ended up hitting one early, and you can see him pumping himself up like, hey, we're going to shake off that early start. He got a big dunk, and he generally was just all over the place in this game, found other ways to make an impact, which is what you have to do when you get off to a rough start. Find ways to get yourself going, and then the rest of it will come. And if it doesn't, then at least you contributed. He did also pull down 3 offensive rebounds, so 3 of his 8 rebounds were offensive. So Dorian Finney-Smith, overall good game. Like I always say, if he can go 2 for 5 from the 3 and give us some great defense, then he had a good game. He was 4 for 8 and gave us great defense, so huge game for him. And then 8 boards as well. Maxi had a tweet after the game pointing out that if you just look at the box score, it's going to look like he had a really blah game. But 9 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. He played great defense all night long. especially on switches. He took on Jokic on one switch, and Jokic tried to just bang through him, and he stuck with him, forced a missed shot. Every time he got switched on to Murray backed out like he was going to line him up or square him up and like try to drive on him or something, but then he ended up just passing the ball away. Made it look like maybe he read the scouting report on Maxi or watched the film. One of those plays, he actually backed up and literally just threw the ball into Luka's arms. Like, I don't even want the ball anymore. I don't care who has it type of thing. It was the laziest pass. And it just looked like he was just intimidated by Maxi when Maxi got into his defensive stance. So I love that. I love the respect that Maxi seems to be getting from at least Murray in this instance. Maxi hit all 3 of his made threes in the fourth quarter. One was the game that basically forced overtime, or the shot that basically forced overtime that you heard the call of at the beginning of the podcast. That one was contested, and it's those type of shots where the man is going to be close on the closeout, but most likely isn't going to get to his shot because he's 7 feet or 6'10" with long arms. That Maxi is usually hesitant to pull. He knew he had to pull there, so he did. But I'd like to see him pull the trigger on those shots earlier in the game. It's still a clean look. He just has a man closing out on him. He's shooting right now, and I didn't go through his shooting. He was 3 for 7 overall from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. Again, I want 2 out of 5, so he did his thing tonight. He's overall shooting 15. He's made 15 of his 31 three-point attempts. 15 of 31 three-point attempts so far this season. I think it's safe to allow him to let a few more of those fly. I was a bit concerned about halfway through the third quarter. He had only taken 1 shot. So that means 6 of his shot attempts came the back end of the third or the fourth quarter or overtime. So he started to be aggressive. I don't know if Carlisle or one of the other coaches got in his ear, but glad to see him step up when we needed him late in the game. And maybe, I don't expect that we'll see KP against the Magic. I'm kind of expecting they wouldn't want to throw KP out there in his first game to deal with Zion's large body bumping into him. And we saw how Maxi handled Zion last time, so I wouldn't expect him before the Hornets game personally. I was initially thinking the Pelicans, but if we could avoid him having to deal with Zion, that would be probably for the best. And again, if KP isn't back, and even if he is really, if KP isn't back especially though, I want Maxi to take 10 shots in the next couple of games. Just to get a feel for being an offensive weapon. I want him to start letting that thing fly. He's shooting a ridiculous clip from the 3 right now. Saw some other things that I like from him. He was chasing his rebounds out of his area. Again, he had 8 tonight. I feel like almost all of them were ones that he chased down. Did he have 8? Oh, man, hold on. My math was all over the place. I got too many numbers in my head, and it's 2:30 a.m., so bear with me, y'all. Maxi. Yeah, he had 8 rebounds. Okay. So he had 8 rebounds. Again, most of them I felt like he chased out of his area. That's pretty much most of what he was doing early in the game before he started shooting in the fourth. But besides that, if you recall in the previous podcast, I mentioned that I wanted to see him do like a 1-dribble pull-up or develop a floater to kind of work on his mid-range game because currently he's either dunking or shooting threes. He did try both of those types of shots. He tried a floater, he missed it. He tried a 1-dribble pull-up and he missed it because you could just tell it just wasn't comfortable for him. But those are things that he has to do to make himself a well-rounded player, to make himself a threat and be as good as he can be. He has to keep taking those types of shots to keep the defense honest so he's not just a spot-up shooter, because those type of players are easily neutralized, usually defensively, if you're paying attention, which is why he was not shooting in these past couple of games. I also mentioned in the last game that Maxi and DFS were the only other guys that I thought were truly expendable or had proved that aren't expendable, that they are key pieces for the next 2 or 3 years. And they proved that tonight. They were both big in different ways tonight. You have to have guys like them on your team. Besides that, Maxi did have one offensive rebound. I'm trying to track that still. Then finally, the fifth starter was Willie Trilly Cauley-Stein. He played 26 minutes, 5 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. He made his 1 field goal attempt. He was 3 for 4 from the line. He had 2 offensive rebounds. Played pretty great defense on Jokic, about as great as you can expect. He was pushed around a little bit. He got some stupid foul calls that weren't necessarily his fault. I mean, stupid in the sense that I didn't like the calls. But his length bothered Jokic on the interior. Jokic made some threes, but nobody in the league is contesting a Jokic 3 because he shoots it above his head. I was very pleased with what Willie Cauley-Stein did tonight. I think late in the overtime, he got switched on to Murray and held his ground, forced a tough shot. That's about as much as you can ask for him. I think he's proven himself. I don't know what's going to happen when KP comes back. We'll get into that later. But if he's KP's backup or even if he plays with KP, I'm fine with either scenario. Let's move to the bench. We had THJ play 24 and a half minutes off the bench, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block. 3 for 11 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. Like I have said time and time again, you have to take the good with the bad with Hardaway. He had a very, very hot stretch in the back half of the third quarter when we went on a little run that finally kind of woke us up. But other than that, he had some ugly shots. A few of those misses were like situations where we did nothing for 20 seconds of the shot clock and then just gave him the ball to throw something up because we know he's capable of getting the shot off at any time. So I'm not going to blame him for missing 8 of his 11 shots. It is what it is. He had a huge block for us. He made some plays. He did his part coming off the bench, being a spark plug. That's fine with me. Brunson, 18 and a half minutes, 7 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 2 for 5 in the field, 1 of 3 for 3, and made both of his free throws. Made some bad decisions again. Had one shot where he did like a 1 dribble pull up, deep 2 with his foot like straddling the 3-point line, and just made me mad. But Luka came back in and he did some good stuff off the ball when Luka was on the floor. Boban played 16 minutes. He had 12 points and 3 boards, was 5 for 7 from the field, hit both his free throws, and had one of our offensive rebounds. It was literally a situation where somebody missed a shot and he just snatched it out of the air, like from right beside the rim, like made Jokic look very small. And I think he put it in off the catch. He did Boban things, basically. When we used him, good things happened. When we brought him in early in the game, he kind of set a different tone and slowed things down as far as where it was starting to fall away from us. In the fourth, he played kind of meh, and then he was probably in a little bit too long to where the Nuggets started to kind of take advantage of the bad switches we were doing around him. To try to compensate for his lack of foot speed to be able to run across the court on a switch or if somebody takes his man. So he ended up being a net 0 if you look at the plus minus. Again, good in the first half, kind of was in a little bit too long in the second half, and we weren't really using him when he was in, which is how that happens. When you use him, like I said, good things happen. But if he's on the court just as a regular player, now you're going to end up in a bad situation usually. Anyway, Dwight Powell played 10 minutes off the bench, had 7 points and a steal, no rebounds, no assists, 2 for 2 from the field, hit 3 free throws. He did some good things in his time on the floor, but it was limited time, the way God intended, and that's fine. It's nice to be able to enjoy Dwight in small samples rather than having to see him for 25 minutes a game. James Johnson played 9 minutes off the bench. He also had 7 points and a steal with no rebounds or assists. He was 3 for 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. Had a rough stretch in, well, I believe it was the second quarter, maybe late first into the second. Made a couple positive plays to follow those ugly plays up, but it's really hard for me to get a read on who he is, what we can expect from him on a given night. So, whatever. And then finally, Josh Green played 2.5 minutes, had a rebound and a foul in those 2.5 minutes. Don't think he touched the ball at all on offense. And he got cooked a couple times by Murray. And that was pretty much the end of his experience on the court. So he was put in with that weird group with Johnson that I don't know what Carlisle expected out of that group, but didn't look good. And then we didn't see Green again because the game was kind of ugly. I'm hoping we get to see him in one of the next 2 games. I don't know what Trey Burke's situation is. I know they said he was out with an illness tonight, but we haven't gotten any real detail on what that is. So that's the box score. And I'm going to get in bed at 3 o'clock. Anyway. Player of the game tonight. Had to give it to Luka again. I'm tired of giving it to Luka. It would be nice if somebody else would do something big for us, but that is not occurring right now. KP is on the way to hopefully avoid me having to give this to Luka every night. But big game from Luka, 38 points, 9 boards, 13 assists. I think 4 steals. Let me go back to it. Yeah, 4 steals and a block. So, big game from Luka. Kept his head in the game when it started to get ugly, which if you go back a few episodes, was one of the things I was complaining about. When things start to go bad and your star starts to unravel, the team is going to unravel with them. So, again, kept his head in the game, stepped up on defense, and the team responded with him. Stepped up with his game instead of his mouth. So, love it. And tweet of the night goes to a special follower named Mike Bibbins. Runs the Bibbs Corner account, and he has this thing where whenever Maxi Kleber gets a box, he says, put whoever the player is on the MFN wall, and he was able to do that tonight, and it was a great moment. I think the timeline really responded to that. It was pretty cool. Anytime you get to use that meme or whatever, is a great time on the timeline. And new thing this year apparently is adding the names to the wall, so it'd be nice to watch how that grows as the season goes along. Should be pretty interesting to watch. Huge crowd pleaser, that one. Parting thought of the night. We know KP is on the way. We know that Willie Cauley-Stein and Maxi have been starting these past few games. THJ has moved to the bench, and I want to believe that I prefer Maxi off the bench. I don't necessarily want to see Maxi and KP together as the starters, because his scoring potential is nice off the bench, but his versatility on D with the starting group is also important. Willie looks like he might have some of that versatility as well, but we will have to wait and see on that. I'm just kind of curious how Rick's going to play the big man rotation now that we've seen how effective Willie Cauley-Stein can be as a role man. And I don't know how Maxi's playing. I think Maxi's the most likely candidate to go to the bench. That's my prediction. We'll see. And I would be remiss. I wanted that to be my parting thought, but I did have to go back in here. Former Mavs Seth Curry was diagnosed with COVID today, so I wanted to make sure I did wish him a speedy recovery. Still a fan of his, really love Seth Curry in his game, so I've been watching him closely. He's been having a huge season, so hopefully this doesn't set him back at all. Hopefully the family is also isolated away so nobody at home gets sick or anything like that. I know the team, the Philadelphia 76ers, are all quarantining and waiting for, official results to make sure nobody else has it. Apparently he sat on the bench during the game beside Embiid even. So he was out today with an ankle. I saw some speculation that maybe they knew he had something or might have had it, and that's why they held him out. But I can't believe they would do that and then have him sit on the bench. So hopefully that didn't happen. Again, hopefully everybody has a speedy recovery if anybody else is diagnosed, including, whatever. And then anybody out there who listening right now who has a loved one, or you yourself might be dealing with the virus right now because it is spreading like crazy right now. I want to wish you all a speedy recovery and your family members as well. And, if you're struggling in any way, just know that Mike Bivens is pulling for you. And with that, peace, love, and respect. I will catch you all Saturday night.